1 in 7 adults, or approximately 500,000 people, have diabetes in South Carolina. Our African American population at a significantly higher risk. Well, here to share some diabetes prevention tips is Dr. John Whyte, the Chief Medical Officer for WebMD, and he has just released a new book, Take Control of Your Diabetes Risk. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to see you.
It's great to have you. You know, diabetes, it is very serious here in South Carolina. And I wanted to talk a bit about, first of all, the differences between diabetes as a result of lifestyle versus anything else, because I think that's the one we tend to really focus on.
So there's type 1 diabetes. That means you're insulin deficient. Your pancreas can't make enough insulin. We usually see that early in life. There's some exceptions, but folks then need insulin to survive because they're not making enough. In type 2 diabetes, which is what we're talking about, your cells become resistant to insulin. So you're still making it at first. You're actually making too much because your cells aren't responding well to it. 90% of type 2 diabetes is related to obesity. That's the bad news.
Yeah.
The good news, because it's related to obesity, if you work on weight loss and healthy diet and physical activity, you often can reverse it or at least prevent its progression.
Right. And I think having access to a lot of fresh food, that's incredibly important. But when you don't, what would you recommend for people to do to try to mitigate their chances of gaining too much weight and therefore developing type 2 diabetes?
What I'd say is we do have to watch what we eat. Food is medicine in many ways, but there's a lot of hidden sugars, and we forget about that. You know, we're still drinking soda, 11 teaspoons of sugar. Think if you had to put 11 teaspoons in a glass.
Wow.
You would be like, there's no way I'm doing that. Iced tea. Who doesn't love iced tea, especially as it's getting warmer? 8 teaspoons of sugar. But there's also hidden sugar. Pasta sauce often has about 4 packets of sugar. Barbecue sauce, why do we all love it? It actually has a lot of sugar. Have to start looking at labels. You don't necessarily have to know, hey, Dr. Whyte, what's the right amount? What I tell people is compare the labels, check and see how much sugar is in it, and then start making the choices that have less sugar. You're still going to enjoy it. So it's really about a pattern of eating. I don't want anyone to watch and think, oh, hey, Dr. Whyte says I can never have iced tea or I can never have, barbecue. I'm not listening to him. Yeah. What I'm saying is we can't have it 3 times a week. We can't have a soda, every day. And as you said, sometimes it takes some adjustment. I'll be honest, I used to drink soda, then I drank diet soda, then I learned if I tried sparkling water, because I'd have that same effect, and put something like a lime or a lemon, that would work. And now I just drink flavored water, but it's sugar free. And those are the changes that I talk about and Take Control of Your Diabetes Risk that most people can make.
That's funny that you and I both have taken that same path, because it kind of went from the diet sodas to then the sparkling waters. But you have to be careful of those too, because they contain sodium. Now, does sodium contribute to diabetes?
Sodium can, but I'm going to tell you, I'm less concerned about the sodium in flavored water as the sodium is in bread. And a lot of times people will be like, oh, that's my weakness, bread or pizza. Why do you think you're so thirsty after pizza? Because it's the #1 source of sodium. And then crackers and chips, and it's great if we're having salsa and guacamole, but maybe you could try whole wheat crackers. Maybe you could try pita bread, which is a much thinner bread and smaller, or whole wheat. So we always look for some excuses of why we can't eat something healthy. But I also don't want people to think healthy and happy don't go along together. They really do. And it is about changing your tastes and looking for those healthy alternatives while treating yourself. Sometimes too. The problem is we treat ourselves every day.
I think you've given us a really good place to start too. You can start making those little changes, and then as the weight starts to drop off, you'll start to see that reversal in your diabetes. So it's something that is worth consulting with your doctor about as well. But Take Control of Your Diabetes Risk. Excellent book. Great to go out there, start reading, and then change your life. Dr. Whyte, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
We're back after this.